Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jill Stearns. I'm the Superintendent and President of Cuesta College, and it is a privilege and a pleasure to welcome you to the annual Women of Distinction Awards reception, where Cuesta College, the Community Foundation of San Luis Obispo County Women's Legacy Fund, and you, friends and family, recognize and applaud phenomenal women who are successful, accomplished, and tremendous contributors to our community. Please join me in thanking the talented Cuesta College jazz students for providing the beautiful music. So Kieran Zeller, Sydney Martin, David Escamilla, and Eli Grinberg, thank you so much for the music we all enjoyed. So I'm the one who's new to this event, but I get to share briefly just a bit of the history of Cuesta College's involvement with Women's History Month and the Women of Distinction Awards ceremony. Cuesta's participation in recognizing women in history actually started before Congress passed the national designation in 1987. In the mid-1970s, Cuesta College held a women's conference, an all-day event with a keynote speaker to promote women as leaders and to understand the role of women in history. Over the years, the event evolved to include awards. The first award was given in 1987, the same year that Congress declared March as Women's History Month. Arlene Chandler was the first to be recognized as the Woman of the Year. In 1990, the program expanded to 4 awards: Progress for Women, Community and Public Service, Professional Community and Public Service Volunteer, and Women in Education. Depending upon who was in charge of planning the event, the program morphed a bit each year. It was on Saturdays, then became a week long, then a few days, then back to Saturday, and in 2005 was moved to Friday lunch, and then finally as a reception. In 2010, the event was put on hiatus, and in 2014, a partnership with Cuesta College, the Community Foundation of San Luis Obispo County Women's Legacy Fund, was formed to continue to raise awareness and recognize the contribution that women have made in the areas of volunteering in the community, their profession, and in philanthropy. Depending upon who you talk to, this could be the 28th year for the event with awards, or the 40th year where some version of an event took place to recognize women. The scrolling slideshow on the screen will enumerate the past award recipients, but I'm going to please ask that those who have been recognized with an award in prior years to stand. And if you will join me in a round of applause to recognize and celebrate these distinguished leaders. Thank you for your service and for the positive examples you have demonstrated for women of all ages. This afternoon's MC is Erica A. Stewart. Erica is a longtime resident of San Luis Obispo, beginning at Cal Poly in 1990. We were actually there for a little bit at the same time. After earning a master's degree in public administration from the University of San Francisco, she returned to San Luis Obispo to put down roots. Erica is currently the Assistant Director of Personnel and Marketing at Cal Poly for Campus Health and Wellbeing. Prior to Poly, Erica was a Human Resource Manager in Manufacturing, Healthcare, and SLO County Superior Court. She served as Chief Operating Officer at United Way, worked in restaurant management and catering, and even owned her own small business, a wholesale bakery. And now she adds to her resume as the newest council member for the city of San Luis Obispo. Erica, we are delighted you can join us and to MC this celebration. Everyone, please welcome Erica A. Stewart.
Switch scripts, you know. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's my absolute pleasure to MC the annual Women of Distinction event. And it's absolutely awesome to be surrounded by so many strong and accomplished leaders. It's wonderful to be part of a community that has contributors like the women we are honoring today. Each awardee makes our region an amazing place to live and to work. Now let's get to why we're all here to celebrate our group of amazing women. But first, I'd like to recognize our local, state, and national elected officials. When I call your names, please stand, and of course remain standing. And audience, please hold your applause till the end. The following elected officials graciously provided certificates to honor these women. First, Caitlin Cox, District Representative for Salud Carbajal. John Peshong and his legislative aide, Vicki Johnson. Cuesta College's Board of Trustees, Dr. Barbara George and Mary Strobridge. SLO City Council representatives, Mayor Heidi Harmon, Council Member Carlin Christensen. Thank you. Let's join and elect these officials. I would also like to take a moment to recognize Heidi McPherson. Heidi, will you please stand? Heidi is the CEO of the Community Foundation of San Luis Obispo County. Last year, the Community Foundation celebrated 20 years of impact supporting our county with grants and scholarships totaling more than $30 million. The foundation's charitable assets under management have grown to nearly $60 million and provide support to all aspects of our community in perpetuity. The Women's Legacy Fund has awarded more than $350,000 grants to support organizations that assist women and girls. These grants are to strengthen their physical, emotional, intellectual, and financial well-being. We hope you can join us at the annual luncheon on Thursday, September 26, 2019, at the Madonna Expo. Our first award today is the Community and Public Service Professional Award, awarded to a woman who has, by virtue of her profession, distinguished herself by outstanding professional service to the community. I would like to invite George Galvin to the podium to introduce this year's award winner, Simone Hosey. Simone, will you please join George on the stage?
Good afternoon. I guess I'm first, and I only have a half hour, so I'm going to get started. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here. I just am really honored to have been able to nominate Chief Warrant Officer Simone Hosey. She's been employed by the Grizzly Youth Academy for over 18 years, and she's presently the community outreach coordinator for the Grizzly Academy. And I know I don't have a half hour, but I just want to tell you that it's been an honor to nominate her. It's an honor to be her friend, and she is a woman of distinction. Thank you.
Good question. I don't have that in my script.
It's okay. I'm honored and humbled by standing up here today. I was a AA recipient of Cuesta College. I was paying for my own education, so I quickly transferred to Cal Poly. Not before, I was in 4 of the junior colleges before that because I was in the Navy traveling. So moving forward, I got into Cal Poly and took 15 to 21 credits a semester to get in and out because it was expensive. And meanwhile, I was raising my son. Torn, raise your hand. Yeah. I decided 6 months before I got my degree that I was going to buy a house in Los Osos. And I did. And I've pretty much done all of that alone. So what I have to say is that the reason I'm here today is because of all of you, everyone in the community, my family, my friends, my colleagues, and my mentors. Without my mentors in my life, I would have never been standing here today. And I learned one thing early on, and my father had a lot of money. He was an inventor, entrepreneur. But he died with money and an empty heart. And my mother is disabled, and I'm her conservator. And she's happy and in love and poor. So what I learned is serving is what life is about. You have 1 hourglass, and how are you going to spend it? And at the end of my life, I want to close my eyes and know I've done everything I can to help everybody around me. So that's how I live my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. It's an honor that we get to share this moment with you. And thanks for your patience with me as the first-time MC. Someone who came in the room that I did not get to recognize is Dan Dow, District Attorney Dan Dow. Would you please stand and we can recognize you? Thank you. Okay, our next award is the Community and Public Service Volunteer Award. It's awarded to a woman who has distinguished herself as a volunteer by providing outstanding service to the community. Catherine Dressler, to introduce this year's award winner, Jessica Lorance. Please join me on the stage.
Quiet walk as you go up. I am Mom. I bet you couldn't figure that out. I did not nominate my daughter, though I would have. A colleague of hers did, and unfortunately, she's not able to be here today. But I'll just very briefly tell you a little bit about how Jessica volunteers. She has the rank of commissioner with Boy Scouts of America. I've known since the time that she was very small that she was never one to really fit into a mold. So wherever she sees that there is a need, she has that place in her heart, and she always wants to address that need. If I get weepy, we're going to call it menopause. But I am incredibly, incredibly proud of my daughter. In her spare time, which is kind of few and far between, she and her family members foster kittens, little orphan kittens. So she's up every 2 hours, bottle feeding and taking care of everything that needs to be done there as well. Never fusses about being tired, but she feels like she's doing something special to help out these little orphan cats who go on to the other families and have already bonded very quickly with other humans. She volunteers with the elderly, not just with her 92-year-old grandfather, but with people who have dementia and cognitive disabilities. She's always there to lend a helping hand. And whenever they say that they need someone, her hand is immediately in the air, and I'm sort of next to her pulling it down, going, I thought we were going to take a little time off here. But she says, no, there's a need, Mom, and that's what I need to do. I need to help fill it. She is a domestic violence support counselor. She has a real heart for homeless people and people in need, and that's actually part of what she does for a living, which I'm sure she'll mention that. But also in her spare time, she gathers together harvest boxes for families who are in need as well. And she volunteers with the veterans in our community. That's probably all I should say, because otherwise I will end up taking that half an hour, and it will go on. But I'm as proud as I can be. And humbled, because there are so many people out there who do incredible things. And we are so blessed to live in a community that is like this, where there's so many like-minded, caring, loving people who can identify needs and then step up and fill those needs. So thank you so much, and I want to introduce to you my daughter, Jessica Lorance.
I'm so sorry, now I'm gonna cry. So I am so pleased and honored and humbled to accept this award, not just for myself, but all the hardworking, wonderful volunteers that we have and some amazing people that I've gotten to meet in our community. I currently work for the Department of Social Services in our Homeless Services sub-department. And I love it there, and I work with some amazing people that inspire me every day. I'd also like to thank the love and support I get from my family, because without them I wouldn't be me. But my goal is to continue embodying the words of Albert Einstein and inspire others to do the same. And he says, only life lived for others is worth living. So thank you guys so much.
Our next award is the Progress for Women Award. It's awarded to a woman whose commitment to a particular program or issue of special relevance to women has helped to improve the quality of life of women. Matthew O'Leary will introduce this year's recipient, Janet Wallace. Will you please both join me on the stage?
My name is Matthew O'Leary. I have the honor of introducing Janet Wallace as she's given the Progress for Women Award. It's an award that she richly deserves. In addition to the honor of introducing Janet today, I have the honor of being Janet's partner in our law firm together, O'Leary Wallace. Contrary to pop culture humor, lawyers are actually bound by a significant number of rules regarding their conduct and professionalism. The American Bar, in fact, publishes 56 model rules of which lawyers in other states are supposed to adopt. The comment on the model rule regarding a lawyer's responsibility to act with diligence says, a lawyer should pursue a cause on behalf of a client despite opposition, obstruction, or personal inconvenience to the lawyer, and take whatever lawful and ethical measures are required to vindicate a client's cause or endeavor. A lawyer must also act with commitment and dedication to the interests of the client and with zeal and advocacy upon the client's behalf. Though Janet would say that she does not relish the sometimes adversarial role an attorney must take, she always upholds these duties. When not advocating with zeal for clients, Janet similarly pursues, as no one else I've known, and despite opposition, obstruction, or personal inconvenience, by whatever lawful and ethical means available, many other worthy causes. The advancement of fine arts, having champagne and sparkle at all occasions, the advancement of community-focused businesses, safe foster family placement for children in need, adoption, and though I could go on, progress for women, particularly in the legal workplace. Janet served on the board of directors for Miss JD for 9 years, Ms. JD is a 501c3 nonprofit that promotes women in the legal profession and provides an online forum for dialogue and networking among women lawyers and law students in all the arenas of the legal profession. At Ms. JD, Janet created the Writers in Residency program. In which authors make monthly contribution to the website. There's 200 authors in total to date. The website contains the most comprehensive resource of progress for women, literature and other materials available. She's organized and led 10 conferences and been a speaker at 7 of them. As of 2015, Ms. JD had 4,000 blog posts published. That number is now possibly exceeds 5,000. Janet was instrumental in that process. The organization has also supported 8 women to attend university in Uganda. There's been 77 fellowships granted domestically, and there are 30 chapters of the organization at the nation's various top law schools. When she retired from the board, she was the longest-serving director in the organization's history, and she now serves on the board emeritus. Her contributions to the progress for women are far too voluminous to be recited here. So without further ado, Janet Wallace.
Oh, you should. Thank you, Matt. I am very honored to receive this award. Congratulations to my fellow recipients. If somebody's going to give me the microphone to talk about progress for women, I bring notes. I have notes, so I have a few things to say. And I'm really excited about progress for women. Women are now almost half of the workforce. They are half of medical students, half of law students. NASA recently had a graduating class of astronauts that was half women, and of course, we are seeing more women than ever run for political office. Yay. But the bad news is that we are not going to see gender equality in our lifetimes. At the current pace of progress, it will take another century for women to reach parity in the top % of labor income earners. And globally, differences in economic opportunity are so vast that it will take 200 years to fully bridge them. So I would love to talk about why only 27% of students taking the AP Computer Science exam are female, or why women earn only 18% of engineering degrees here in the United States, or why women are just 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs, and in my profession, why fewer than 20% of equity partners of law firms are women. But I have not been allotted that much time. And I think when we start talking about the statistics and how we fix these challenges, it starts to seem really overwhelming, and these issues seem almost unsolvable. So what I want to tell you is this. All those things that Matt mentioned, most of those ideas were born in a hotel room in Chicago. So 8 or so women and I were sitting around a hotel room in our pajamas, eating deep dish pizza, as one does in Chicago, and we decided to come up with some dreams. And we literally went around the room and each of us thought up an idea of how we could better the world for women. And then we took those dreams and we actually did them. That's the stuff Matt talked about. And that's really it. And I'm not trying to diminish the things that we accomplished because it was a ton of hard work, but I'm just telling you that it's totally wild to stand up here and realize that over the past decade, we made all of those dreams actually come true. Thank you. So the most comprehensive library of resources for women in the law, which is now housed at the University of Texas, that started as a spreadsheet in my college apartment. And I am not good at Excel, I have no idea. We sent women to law school in Uganda because we got together with some cheap wine and somebody came up with that idea and then we did it. So as I spent some time reflecting on this award, is my time up? Okay, I got some more. I started to think about the two things that I'm most grateful for and the things that allowed this to happen. And the first thing is, of course, my education. So in parts of the world, education for girls and women is just not a priority. And even here in America, our system instills in very young girls a belief that they are less innately talented than their male peers. And this persists into their work lives. Implicit bias in education and in the workplace undermine women, and they are a barrier to success. But we know that when girls and women are educated, societies can be transformed. We know that companies with gender diversity in leadership outperform their competitors. And we know that education for girls and women is a ladder out of poverty. So I feel tremendously grateful for my education. I don't take it for granted, and I know that what I choose to do every day with my degree can change the quality of other people's lives. And I know that if we apply our educations to educating girls and women in the world, we can change the world. So the second thing we had was we had each other. These women and I decided that instead of trying to join the old boys club, we were just going to create a new girls club. We decided that the glass ceiling would be easier to shatter together, and we decided that we would acknowledge, advocate for, and advance each other's dreams. Every single thing that I have done to advance women has been a group project. So I don't know if you remember being in school, there was always one kid that did the lion's share of the work in group projects. We just took all those kids and we put us together in a hotel room, and that's what came. So, the new Girls Club, when it came to case referrals, speaking engagements, community leadership positions, we nominate and refer each other. This is how I came to write an essay and be an associate editor for her story. It's how I found myself out of the hotel room and into a shiny boardroom in San Francisco and Manhattan. And it's because of the work of my friends that I am able to even qualify for an award as meaningful as this one. So I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for the women in my life, not only those that span the country and helped build Ms. JD, but the ones who joined me here today. The women in my life and the way they support one another is extraordinary. I'm especially grateful to Michelle, who, among so many other things, was the editor-in-chief of the Ms. JD website, which was my baby for a very long time. And I also have two great men in my life who have been steadfast supporters of my extracurricular activities, and they never complain about picking up the slack. My partner-in-law, Matt O'Leary, and my partner in life, Will Wallace, who is for real the greatest human I know, and who has long accepted that when I go out to dinner with a girlfriend, I'm coming back with a list of things to do. So again, thank you so much. My heart is full. Thank you.
For our next award, we are lucky to have Susan Dressler actually here in the room today. Susan, would you please stand? Our next award is the Susan Dressler Educational Leadership Award. It's awarded to a woman with a distinctive achievement in education, training and development, continuing education, or alternative learning programs, and improvement to the quality of education. This is a very special award that is not given every year, but was brought back this year for a very special person. Let's welcome Devin Hodgson to the stage with this year's award recipient, DJ Pittenger.
Hi, my name is Devin Hodgson, and I'm privileged to have nominated and be here to introduce DJ Pittenger. I have worked with DJ for a decade in multiple roles in alternative education, including independent studies, continuation school, juvenile hall, and community schools. I can say without hesitation that she is the reason I am the educator and educational leader that I am today. It is hard to summarize in 2 minutes, the time I was given, what she means to me and so many people in our community. I began to talk about this introduction with several colleagues that have worked with DJ, and it dawned on me when talking with people from all levels of education organizations, members of the community, and state-level leaders, that DJ is the glue that has connected us. One of my peers said it best: wherever DJ goes, she builds networks of influencers and doers. She's great at connecting those people to one another and leveraging their social and professional capital in service of their goals, the goals of others, or professional needs. Another colleague said, DJ finds a way to make no a reality. She does this for her students, her staff, her community, and more. I recently saw a quote by Rosalind Carter that said, "A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go but ought to be." DJ sees the potential in students, staff, and programs that others don't always see. She balances high expectations with a supportive environment to guide the growth processes of groups and individuals. She moves them out of the box. It is DJ's heart and persistence that influenced bringing the right people together to develop programs such as Lighthouse, a drug and alcohol education program in North County, Coastal Valley Academy, a rehabilitation program for incarcerated youth, career technical education to provide vocational training for our community school students. DJ has taught me and many others to view our youth as whole children. Another former colleague I spoke with said, DJ is always preoccupied with her students' basic needs. For example, DJ will bring awareness to those around her by asking, has this boy had breakfast today? Has this girl's family found housing? Are the kids in this class being adequately served by our bus routes? What are a kid's counseling options? Does their family have a pressing medical or logistical need that can help broker a solution? DJ models this compassion and work ethic for everyone around her. DJ is just as concerned about her employees as she is her students. Another former colleague said, DJ used to make hot soups and stews for our staff on rainy days. She'd give us rides, buy us lunch, help us balance family and work. DJ has been the first person to bring hot meals to our hospital rooms and homes when our families have experienced hardship. I am an example of one of those privileged to be lifted, sometimes carried, encouraged and challenged by DJ. I can say without a doubt that I am still giving to my work and family with all heart and high expectations because of what she has modeled for me. I am honored to introduce you to DJ Pittenger as this year's recipient of the Susan Dressler Educational Leadership Award.
Thank you, Devin. I couldn't do it without my family, my friends, my coworkers. I am just so grateful to have the opportunity to serve this community in the capacity that I have. I'm thankful for those who have supported me in my years in education. And I thought about it this morning. I'm really also thankful for those who didn't support me because they provided me with that challenge. And I have a sign on my desk, and I've taken it with me wherever I go when I move from office to office, and it says, find another way to yes. We don't have to take no for an answer. If there is a need, we need to find a way. One of the things that I've been most blessed with, and I think that has brought the most contribution to our community, is my work with other agencies outside of education. And some of you guys are here today, and I thank you for that. It's the work that we've done across agencies that have really pulled our resources together, time and money, and made a difference for our county, countywide. And we're still continuing every day to look for new opportunities to do that. As I reflected on this award and on this day today, I thought about that word leadership. And If you're a leader, you have people around you. And I think that as I reflect on my career and where I am at this point in my life, one of my greatest accomplishments are people like Devin and others that are here, strong women and men who have taken the opportunity to be mentored, to watch, to listen, and to be able to give back and carry on the things that are important to me and are making our county a great place to be. So I thank you, and thank you again, Devin.
As some of you may know, the Grace N. Mitchell Lifetime Achievement Award is an amazing award, a very special award given to a woman, a woman with distinguished service and dedication to women in more than one of the three categories, and over an extended length of time throughout her professional or volunteer career. Chenda Laurie will introduce this year's recipient, Eve Vigil. Please join me on the stage.
Well, I am so grateful and honored to be here to introduce the lovely Eve Vigil. My name is Chenda Laurie, no I at the end. And 30 years ago, Eve started this magnificent garden with this monstrous vision for a world-class, state-of-the-art garden that incorporates all the 5 Mediterranean climates of the world. She wants to bring it here, wants to make it a gem for the county, and I believe we've gotten a great start in the first 30 years. And the Lifetime Achievement Award doesn't really give her permission to stop, because I frankly need her for another 30 years at least, and so does the garden. I am their new executive director, who Eve was so instrumental in getting me to come to the garden and find my calling, and I think I found my calling. And she's been so inspirational and humble at the same time. I don't know too much about Eve, but I know that her granddaughter thinks the world of her because Ashley is a friend of my daughter's. She's spent many hours in my kitchen, and she's a ball of energy. If you've ever seen her at the garden, she's running up and down those hillsides, and I'm like so impressed. She's an amazing grandmother and an amazing mom. She's an inspiration to the female staff at the garden and everybody that comes to volunteer and sees her. She also does search and rescue. Yes, she does search and rescue. So she goes out and finds those missing people. And she volunteers countless hours to her grandchildren. And they come first, by the way. So we know where we are in all the priorities of Eve. The garden is like third. And she plays so many roles at the garden that I can't even imagine and be able to record. So I am very honored to introduce to you Eve Vigil for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Can you see me? Here, I'll move over this way a little bit. That's always a problem. Whenever I give a presentation, I always have to move away from the podium, or else nobody will ever see me. First of all, thank you very much for Chenda for nominating me. Thank you very much for the committee who had a role in selecting me. Thank you very much. I feel all warm and fuzzy inside, so thank you. Of course, the San Luis Obispo Botanical Garden is my longest project. Search and Rescue is next longest. But this is a project, again, that I've been involved with for 30 years. Now, this came about in a challenge. How many of us, every once in a while, somebody will challenge you, and you have to make a decision as to whether you go for it or you let it go. Before I tell you what the challenge is, let's back up. Back in 1989, I was a senior at Cal Poly in ornamental horticulture. Those of you that were around then will remember that there was a really serious drought. And everybody's lawns went brown. We had water rationing. And everybody started talking about, how are we going to solve this problem? 50% of the water used in California goes for landscaping, and this became untenable. So there was a lot of talk about xeriscaping, X-E-R-I, not zero, like zero. And that's basically dry landscaping. So the combination of that drought and my interest in horticulture provided me with an opportunity to take a job, a summer job at Vandenberg Air Force Base. They wanted to take all of their brown lawns and all of their ice plant, and they wanted to turn it into a beautiful garden of drought-tolerant plants. In those days, those plants were not exactly readily available as they are now. So I ended up going to virtually every botanical garden in California looking for these plants, because my job was to come up with a list and also photographs of mature specimens of these plants. So traveled all over California, came back, and here comes the challenge. I went to my professor, Woody Frey. Some of you probably know him. And I said, Woody, what do you think about starting a botanical garden in San Luis Obispo? And in all earnestness, he looks me in the eye and says, Eve, that's a great idea. Why don't you do it? And I thought, you know, that's not the answer I was looking for. Because I thought, Woody, you're a professor at Cal Poly. You have all these resources. I have nothing. I have an idea. What's going on here? But, you know, I went home, cogitated for a while, and started talking to people. And interestingly, what came out of these conversations, probably the first 24 people I talked to, they all said the same thing. Eve, it's a great idea, but I cannot help you. And I thought, okay, there's something wrong here. It's a great idea, everybody likes it. Nobody wants to work on it. What's up with this? I convinced myself. Well, it turns out very early on, a group of us formed and we started actually pushing the project. It went from the idea to the concept plan. So pretty soon, and I'm going to mention a couple of people here, this is not a one-person project. Some people very early on came on board and said, yeah, not only do we think it's a good idea, we're going to make it happen. I'm going to mention two of them right now, Gabriel Levine and Ken Levine. They came in. Especially because literally there were some of the first people that really, you know, they read, I think it was an article in the Telegram Tribune, I think, and they read about it, that we were forming this group to push this, and they were right there saying, yes, we will help you. That started getting me going on the idea that if you're going to create anything, any organization, any institution, what you really need are the people, and I think several people here alluded to that. You cannot do it yourself. You need to have other people that are dedicated to your idea, and everybody gets together, and that's really what creates these opportunities. So, we have just finished our first 30 years. Oh my gosh, I had brown hair when I started this. It's gray now. But it's been a fabulous experience for me, fabulous people that I've worked with. And we now have we're just on the cusp of another expansion. And we have brought 3 people on board that I am so thrilled. So it's not just volunteers. We now have our brand new executive director, Chanda Lore. We have our long-serving and fabulous education director, Lindsay Morgan. And hello, where's our new development director, Amanda? And there's Amanda. So these are the people, in addition to all the volunteers, and no, I'm not going anywhere. I swear I will be here for another 30 years. And I'm not telling you how old I am. It's going to be a trick, but I will do it. But these are the folks that are going to take the botanical garden into the next 30 years. So if you haven't been to the garden, it's right across the street. Please come and join us, and we will have a great 30th year celebration in November. So thank you again, everybody, for honoring me with this award. I really appreciate it. It was totally unexpected, by the way. I had no idea. But thank you very much, and come and visit.
Chenda, I apologize. Thank you. I find people's names very important, so I apologize. I want to thank you guys today for joining us. Not just for joining us, but so many of you were part of the nominations committee, nominating people, and just being a part of every single woman in this room. But before we get further, and I let you have some more meatballs and wine, I really want to thank the Women of Distinction Planning Committee for putting together this special program and event. When I call your names to the committee, please stand, and audience, we'll just hold our applause till the end. The chair of the Planning Committee, Linda Reitner. All right. Sharon Becko. Nella Girolo, who's in the back working hard. Emily Hurlbert, Erin McCall, Shannon Hill, Karen Tackett, and Betsy Umhofer. If you all please stand. And before we conclude our program, a little bit of housekeeping. We'd like to commemorate, of course, the 2019 award recipients. So we'll take a group photo with all of the recipients, and if you'll gather right here by the plaques, Richie and some others will take your pictures. And to everyone else, please, thank you very much for coming today. Enjoy the beverages and the food, and enjoy each other.